This trip was so chaotically planned like 3 days before we left. I spearheaded all the planning with everything, and we left Luxembourg. We ended up getting Burger King. It was the only thing open, and somehow we landed in Marrakesh, and it was such a beautiful airport, and flying in and seeing the city view of the Medina. And then we got into the Medina and we met our Airbnb host, and he welcomed us to his beautiful riad. And then we went up and looked at the rooftop. Although it was dark, it was still so beautiful. We ended up skipping our Wednesday class so we could have a long weekend. Normally it's just a Thursday through Sunday travel weekend, but we wanted to make the most out of our weekend. We were all so exhausted. Once we picked our rooms, we got ready for bed because we had to get up so early the next day. Just a few short hours later, we woke up at 6 a.m. groggy, overpacked, and the kind of tired where you kind of question every life choice, but you know today's gonna be big. There were 6 of us. We met our tour guide in the dark, and we piled into this silver Sprinter van with a group of complete strangers, and just like that, we were off and no turning back. We made a quick stop to get breakfast and use the restroom. I really don't even remember what I ordered. Then I remember taking in the view, and it all hit that we're actually doing this. We're driving across Morocco into the Sahara with people we literally met just an hour ago. We drove through the high Atlas Mountains. Every mile felt like we were leaving familiar behind. We were only a few hours in, and it already felt like I was on a completely different planet.
شيقلي باشرشري كريت قدهي دوبا دوبا شيقلي باشرشري مشيري تقدهي دوبا دوبا.
In the late morning, we stopped at Ait Ben Hadu, which is this ancient mud brick village that looks like a movie set, which makes sense because it is one. That's where they filmed Game of Thrones, Gladiator, and a bunch of stuff. And when you're standing there looking at all of those crumbling clay towers, you're not just thinking about TV, you're thinking about how long this place has existed and who's walked here before you. We explored the village and we stopped inside an artist's shop consisting of fire paintings, which is a traditional Berber form of art, which uses heat and saffron to burn images into the paper. It's truly mesmerizing. I got my Christmas gifts for my brothers and my dad, and it was just so cool to see the images come to life with the fire. We continued our trek into the desert, and we stopped and got a snack. I took a nap in the van because, let's be honest, abroad is a blur of beauty, bus rides, and naps wherever you can get them. So I seriously don't know how I took a nap like that. But then we rolled into Tangier by sunset. And it was just so nice to be able to be in a bed. But then we ended our night with the traditional dinner, and we were getting ready to get up early the next day. Friday morning started like most travel days do, half asleep, really struggling to zip my backpack and feeling like I forgot something. Normally I do, so I have to unzip and then re-zip. It's one thing I really don't miss about abroad. Waking up on day 2 felt like a dream still in progress. The sun rose over the valleys and everything was golden and quiet. Eventually we got back in the van and started the long drive out to the desert. Luckily, it never felt too long. We were constantly stopping in these little towns or scenic pull-offs that made it feel like an actual journey.
East to the west and south to the north, people were living in peace, seeing the eyes of justice.
C'est pas de bonne qualité. C'est pas de bonne qualité. C'est comme
Every land was thriving with love and prosperity. And I woke up asking myself, oh, I woke up asking myself.
And then suddenly we were on camels.
Like, that seems so fun.
We could also take ATVs out to the camp, but something about the camels just felt more cinematic. Yes, I was worried about the camels. Shout out to my past vegan self, but they seemed well taken care of, and I really hope they are. We rode into the dunes just before sunset. The sand was glowing and everything felt golden and quiet.
Wonderful.
Then when we got to the camp, we dropped off our bags. We tried sandboarding, which I didn't think I would do because I'm more of a skier and I cannot balance on a board for the life of me, but I did it and I'm glad I did.
Wait, Carly, you only had one foot.
Yeah. You got it. Win back foot. Win back foot. Yay.
Yes, Brooklyn.
Woo.
The whale is
That night, we had dinner in the main tent and then joined a drum circle. Not just watching, we got to play. It was one of those nights where everyone's a little sleep deprived but fully in the moment. It was just so amazing to be a part of that drum circle, and just being around the fire was just such a wholesome moment.
Yes, Peyton.
Later, after we laid in the sand and stared up at the stars with our tour guides. There was no light pollution, just pure uninterrupted sky I'll never forget. Saturday morning, camel ride at sunrise. I did not expect the sun to rise like that, and it was honestly one of the most beautiful sunrises I've ever seen. The sky just opened, and then we were all of a sudden back in the van for the 6-hour drive back into Marrakesh. Long but worth it.
Thank you.
We finally made it back to our riad in Marrakesh. I found it on Airbnb. It was so peaceful. We dropped off our bags, took the quickest showers, and headed to dinner. I wish I remembered the name of the restaurant because it was so stunning. Operated in the city, rooftop vibes, music, and everything. I think it was called Cabana. We were just so exhausted. We just wanted to sleep, reset, and wake up early for our flight in the morning. Sunday was a travel blur like every Sunday. We flew from Marrakesh to Brussels, Charleroi, and took a bus back to Luxembourg.
Bye, warm weather. See you never.
And just like that, the trip was over. But the shift that this trip gave me stayed. The trip reminded me to slow down. There's so many different ways to live and different ways to feel full. Sometimes the best thing you can do is leave what you know and learn from the people who live close to the earth, close to each other, and far from the noise. Morocco, you were everything I didn't know I needed.